Hello, and welcome back to Visiting Dugout, a Fans First Sports Network production. I'm Crystal O'Keefe. Today I have Liz Thompson on to talk about the Baltimore. We're going to talk the Orioles today. Hi, Liz. Welcome.
Hi,
Feel free
Crystal. Nice
to
to finally talk
introduce.
with you.
I know. We've been following each other for a while, so this is fun. And I promised I would put you on at least one of my
Yeah.
podcasts like months ago. So we're here now. So welcome. Feel free to introduce yourself a little.
So I'm Liz, born and raised in Maryland. I am also a Cubs fan, in addition to being an Orioles fan. My dad is from Chicago, and I went to Bradley. Um, so there is a Bradley grad on the White Sox. He was there at the same time as me, but I'm pretty sure I never met him.
Oh yes, Mike Talkman was there. We have a
Yes,
lot of Bradley people on Southside Sox actually.
yes.
Melissa Sage Bullenbach, very proud of her school,
Yeah.
and the Palatine Pounder Mike
Yes.
Talkman.
It's like I didn't know Mike Talkman, but I did know Deep D from Love is Blind because she was my cousin's roommate.
Perfect.
Yes.
Um,
Right now, in terms of who I am, I been in baseball. I worked for Masson. I worked for the Orioles, and now I make scorebooks. So I found my own path into baseball.
I love it. We love anytime a woman forges her way into baseball or any other sport for that matter, but especially baseball since it is so male dominated. And I always love the memes I see of like a woman with a scorebook in a game and it was like if you can find someone who can keep score, marry that girl. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes. I don't do it because my ADHD won't allow it, but I know how.
See,
I've
that's
done it
it
for
helps
my
with my
son's baseball.
ADHD. It like gives me the focus to pay attention to the game.
Yeah, that's so smart. All right, so let's get into what's new or really what happened this year with the Orioles.
I would say it's twofold. The first part being injuries. We definitely had the injury bug. We've had a full roster of players reach the IL this year. We have almost like a full rotation on the IL at one point. Um, but the second part being, while we had all those injuries and you can't predict those, our GM, who was secretly promoted apparently in the offseason, who's now the president of baseball operations, which we found out this week, but it happened in December. He didn't really sign any pitching. His big signing was Charlie Morton. And while Charlie Morton got better and is on a competing team now, when the season started, he was struggling and he even felt guilty about it. But that was almost all that Mike Elias did. So when all of the pitchers got hurt, there was nobody else. There was no depth.
Yeah, I understand that as our veteran, like the veteran on the team, pitching wise for the White Sox went down within like the first month of the season, and it was kind of like oh fuck, what are we doing now? We have a bunch of rookies pitching for us, which turned out to be okay, but
Still
when
the White
your
Sox.
yeah, when your rotation is in flux like that, it's terrifying to think about.
Hmm.
So, and I want to touch on kind of the new shift in ownership and the GM and all of that. Do you think there were growing pains associated with that too?
I think we're getting there. David Rubenstein, while he is a fan, is private equity.
Right.
So I have some hesitancy on how much he is going to spend, but he did say that it's like last offseason was his first offseason. He's bought the team like right before opening day of 2024. Um, and so like there's that, but then there's also Mike Elias, who, among other things, just doesn't want to spend. The concept that people get from him is he wants to be the smartest guy in the room. at like all times, but he doesn't want to do that by like just shelling out money. And so he has drafted well, but a lot of that draft success was that 2019 draft where they got Adley and Gunnar, among other people that have made the majors. And so it's like one of those things where we're looking at that success that he did have, thinking, oh, he's good at his job. But then we're like, okay, then why is nothing else happening? We won 101 games with pretty much the same squad, and now we're hoping to get to 500. So I would say with the ownership, though, it's like we're wanting him to do something, but we understand that he's like, I'm new. I'm going to watch the people that have been doing this for a minute and then step in. But then also secretly promoting a guy and not knowing it for what, 9 months is something that's a little iffy as well.
Like a Jerry Reinsdorf thing, if we're being
Oh, I
completely honest.
wish there was so much drama before Rubenstein that if you had another like half hour, we could go into the drama that existed there.
I get it. Oh, I get it. So let's go back to the trade deadline. Do you feel like anything that was done was adequate to help? Again, looking into like maybe even just next year, do you feel like what the Orioles did was adequate even?
Honestly, no. So we understood that it was going to be a long shot at that point, and so they were probably going to be sellers. But then they sold off a guy with team control in Laureano, and people were like, "Why did you get rid of him? He had a team option." And he's been killing it. He's honestly been talked about as like the best trade acquisition at the deadline of everybody. And so it was hard. And then, not to mention, a hometown favorite in Cedric Mullins. People were mad, not necessarily because we knew that he was at the end of his contract or anything, but more so it was just like unceremoniously sending off one of the most popular players on the team, the only guy left from the rebuild, basically. Um, Among that, I mean, it felt like a dumpster fire, even though it wasn't like a full-on dumpster fire the way some other teams had been doing it. I'm trying to remember who like got rid of half their roster, but I can't. Um, but it was just one of those things where it was like, okay, we get it. It's a long shot. But then you saw the Angels making moves as if they wanted to try for it. And it got frustrating because a lot of the people we did get in return for these major league players, the guys playing every day, are double A or single A. There was a couple triple A guys, but it was just like, okay, so they're not going to play next year. So what are we doing next year? Was a big question mark after the trade deadline.
I wish I could instill confidence in you that Cedric Mullins is in a good place because as a Mets fan, I would like to think that, but after watching them for the last month, I don't think he's any
Yeah,
better off.
yesterday it said that they have the fourth worst record since the trade deadline. Like, that's rough, especially because they had the best record going in. Like, yeah.
I watch that team as a relief normally from the White Sox, and it's been way more fun as a White Sox fan since the trade deadline because the Mets have just been abysmal to watch.
It's one of the
So I'm
reasons I
sorry
like
that he's
having the
not gonna.
Cubs as well, is, you know, that at least they were struggling, but they were still winning. And they're still pretty much set for the playoffs. Fingers crossed. It's baseball, you never know. So,
Yeah. Well, I know we could talk about this at the end, but because you brought it up, how do you feel about Anthony Rizzo returning to Chicago to retire?
honestly, I love it. I will not quip words when I say the Yankees screwed him over.
Yes.
I mean, if the people listening don't know, he played with a concussion for months. He was like, yeah, things were blurry. And it was like, why did they even let him, let alone make him play? And I think that's probably contributed to his decline and then not being signed in the offseason. but he's a forever Cub. He was my dad's favorite Cub of the last like decade or so. And, I'm glad to see him back. Same with like Sammy was my favorite player growing up. So seeing him back at Wrigley was great too. So it's like a whole bunch of favorites coming back to the Cubs.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of the poster boy of that World Series win because when I think of that World Series win, I just think of the picture of him and Chris Bryant like leaping into each other's arms after the
Yeah.
final play.
And him just
Like,
slipping the ball into his back pocket.
yeah, yeah, that's all I think about when I think of that 2016 World
Yeah.
Series is that picture and it being everywhere in every single paper, every single article that you could ever
Oh
see
yeah, and you're
ever.
in Chicago, so you saw it all like everywhere you went.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. I even went to that parade and it was
I thought
a
about it.
wild,
I had a friend from Bradley who was like, anybody want to stay at my apartment? It's on the parade route. And I was like, huh. But Southwest, even Southwest was a little out of my price range at that point.
we were at the time we were in the South Loop, so it was very, very close to Grant Park where a big chunk of it was taking place anyway. And after that, I was like, I don't really ever want to be in a crowd ever again. That was the worst experience of my life crowd wise, but it was neat because the whole city was just kind of buzzing and insane in kind of a fun way.
I've
But
never seen my dad happier. I mean, I'm the
yeah,
youngest, but the happiest man I've ever seen in my life was the next day.
I bet. I believe it. So, looking forward to next year, and it doesn't necessarily sound like you're all that optimistic, but are you feeling like at the very least it can be better? Because you're in the toughest division with the Orioles. That division is absolutely brutal. So, do you feel like there is a path forward that's going to be better next year?
I do. I mean, we have a core, and it's one of those things where it's like, okay, we have the people there, but it's not meshing. So I 100% think there needs to be coaching changes. For one, the hitting coach. We hired the Seattle Mariners hitting coach after the season after the Mariners had one of the worst offensive seasons ever, and we hired the guy. And it's like, well, no wonder we're struggling. And there's a lot of times you'll see these plate approaches not changing when the player's struggling. So it's like we have the talent, we have the players, but we don't currently have the coaching. Not to mention, our interim manager talks bad about his own players. Like, a lot of them are like backhanded compliments. It's like, oh, I didn't know he was going to be that good in center field. Why are you saying that to the media? So there's like a question of what the clubhouse is like. I can't imagine it's great, but they are having fun with each other at least. They have a new home run celebration with a Ravens helmet. No more dong bong, unfortunately.
All season, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I would say the real difference maker besides coaching is gonna be being aggressive in acquiring pitching. And with the promotion having been announced, I'm not sure Michael Elias is going to get fired, but something has to change because things are not working. We should not have had a 101 win team 2 years ago collapse the way that they did.
Yeah, that has been honestly something that just needs to be studied because I was very hyped about the O's. I love Adley to death. Britt, who she's a big Yankees fan, and she is a Giants fan because she like locally she's a Giants person, but also a big Yankees girl. But we can sit and talk about our love for Adley for hours on end. I think when we recorded the Giants episode it was just us talking about the funniest videos of Adley Rutschman ever. Like I went to the flagship MLB store in New York City and I'm sitting there telling my husband, I was like, so Adley Rutschman did this commercial here and it was hilarious. And I'm like showing him, it's like he stood here and he was greeting people and he was just being so silly. Like you have such a likable group too, and that core is excellent when healthy. So it just how it went from so good and so fun to just sad is insane to me.
Yeah, it was not fun. It felt like the organization stopped caring at one point. Not to mention the ballpark organization stuff that's happening. If you know about the season ticket fiasco, the way that they just are not treating fans the way they should after a season like this. So,
But yeah, just wild. That's such a bummer. Do you like the renovations they've done to the ballpark in the past few years?
so they haven't actually really done anything yet. Going back to that John Angelos drama, basically they had plans starting in like 2022 to 2023 off season, but they hadn't signed the lease and the money is state money, so they couldn't use it until the lease was signed. And then the lease was signed like right before Angelo sold the team, which is its own mess because he apparently never told the governor of Maryland that he sold the team, among other people. And so nothing really has happened yet. They put in like temporary speakers because the sound
Mhm.
system is crap. Um, they did like pull out some seats in the bleacher area that they're going to renovate to like a social space, which, that one works. It doesn't really change things. But the plans for some of them, they're moving the press box. One of the best press box views in baseball, and they're moving them to make a rich person hangout space. Like, this is not something I'm going to afford anytime soon. And it's like, I guess it's almost exclusive to like a season perk. So you have to have a season plan for this. And not to mention, what was the other one that they've announced? I don't know. It's feeling very private equity like in these decisions. And
Right.
it honestly, the video board's probably the worst video and the audio. The video board is so old, you can see some of the like dead panels on the boards because they're got hopefully replacing it this off season, but it's like these things are so old you can see dead panels in the video board. And it's just like I'm waiting for them. I'm hoping for the best, but the people that I knew that were there are not, and so part of me is just like I don't know if I can trust a private equity owner and this new chief marketing officer to actually give us an experience for the fans and not for the pocketbooks.
Yeah, because that park, like I've been there before and I loved it, but that was a million years ago when I was there. Now I'm almost afraid to tell people like, "Oh yeah,
I mean,
go
it
there.
is
It's
still
beautiful."
incredible. It is absolutely my favorite place. Um, our seats are not changing, thankfully. We are forced to go from a 13 game plan to a 20 game plan, but it's like I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I just
Yeah.
think they're not thinking about the people who buy season plans. They're thinking about the people they want to buy season plans.
Well, we'll take a quick break and then we will get into what this series might just look like. Be right back. Okay, welcome back. So this pitching matchup, we don't have probable pitchers yet. That's okay. This I tend to just kind of ask what we might be expecting just from O's pitching in general.
So it will vary. So we have a decent rotation right now. Honestly, since the All-Star break, we've had a pretty good rotation with some flubs in between. But I think based on Trevor Rogers pitching yesterday, he might pitch Wednesday. And he has been an absolute madman. Um, I wish I had it off the top of my head, but yesterday they were showing a stat for ERA through first 15, 16 starts of a season with the Orioles. And his ERA was better than a season from Jim Palmer and a season from Hoyt Wilhelm. So Hall of Famers. And so
Yeah.
it's just an insane thing he's doing, and it's almost quiet too. It's like if you don't know about it, you're not hearing about it. But it's been incredible. And so it's nice to see him. We have Dean Kramer, who's been reliable. I would say there's been a few times where it's like bullpen, bullpen, bullpen. Dean Kramer goes 7 innings. And it's like, okay, he gives us that relief. He he might miss his next start if he hasn't already because of, I think it was a pitch that came off of him or sore forearm, but they didn't put him on the IL. So we have that, and then Sugano, who I don't think you guys will face, but he's been a mixed bag. So he's a rookie, but he's from Japan, and he's won Japan's version of the Cy Young. It
Hmm.
just feels like once he started getting seen, they started being able to hit off of him, and he hasn't had as much success as he did in the beginning. I'm trying to think who else is currently in our rotation that's not hurt. Oh, we got Bradish, who just came back, and Tyler Wells, who just came back. So we probably see those two guys. Um, I think one of them had like two surgeries, so it was like both of them had Tommy John, and one of them had like a revision surgery, and so they've been doing pretty damn well coming back from Tommy John. People we wish we could have had in the beginning of the season. But
Sure. Yeah.
I would say we're finally in a spot where our starting pitching isn't terrible. It's baseball, so you're gonna have bad starts.
Hmm.
Our issue is kind of the bullpen. It's a wild card. Uh, I would say that's where you can get us if you're not hitting off the pitcher of the starters.
And that's one thing lately, and it's been so odd because it's not something I'm used to. The White Sox have been coming back late into the game and scoring runs, and I'm like, I don't know who you guys are and what happens after the trade deadline. Actually, really, what happened like in the last few weeks? Not even like kind of post break and deadline, like the last few weeks. I'm like, who are
Honestly, the
you?
Orioles have been like that. We got our
Yeah.
first walk-off win. We were the last team to get a walk-off win. We got it like 2, 3 weeks ago. And then in our last homestand, we walked off like 4 of 6 games. Just walk off, walk off, walk off. And it was just like, who are these guys? It always felt like they just fell flat at the end of games that they were losing. And then we frickin' won a no hitter with through 8 and 2/3 innings, and we won. Like that doesn't happen. That shouldn't have happened, but it did.
Yeah, I the last episode of this I recorded, the person is also a Dodgers fan, and I was like, I'm not gonna bring up necessarily what happened unless you are wanting to talk about this, but I was excited.
I it was one of those. I was there the night before. I by chance got to see Shohei pitch for the second time now. And so I didn't go that Saturday, but I was having a time of my life watching it on TV. Like, I started running around the living room because the impossible just happened. Like, it was like this should not have happened at all.
Right. Yeah.
Let alone getting one run within one run was insane, let alone walking it off on the Dodgers.
I don't remember who the article was from, but I remember seeing an article that somebody like I think just hit submit while the game was still playing, thinking they were going to win, and clearly didn't, and it like stayed up forever. And it was talking about like basically this no-hitter and that pitcher and how they came back and won, and it was like still up for the longest time.
I
And I
saw
guess
a
they had
few writers that were like, well, now I have to rewrite my entire game story.
I've been in that situation where I'm just like, oh, come on. Where I've had to just completely readjust my story. So I feel for them, but
Yeah.
that I thought
I don't
was
think I
just
could
hilarious.
do game coverage. Like, I could do articles, I could do columns, but I don't think I could ever just sit there and write a whole article about the game and try to be done within 30 minutes of the game ending. 'Cause, when I
It's
worked at the Orioles, one of the jobs we did was made all the copies. So at the end of the game,
Mhm.
we made copies of the PR game notes and had to run them to the press box for the writers to use, even though they were available online. But
Sure.
you would see some of these writers, especially like after close games or walk-offs, that were just looking stressed because their deadline, especially if they were a newspaper writer, was
Hmm.
very soon.
Yeah, I'm thankful that even though I'm very quick with it and I'm usually, because I'm writing throughout the game, I'm not relying on anything else but like my brain and fan graphs in case I missed something. Um, Thankfully, we aren't on such a tight turnaround, but there have been some games where I'm like, I need to step away for 15 minutes. If I smoked cigarettes, this would be the perfect chance for me to walk around the block and smoke a cigarette because I got so stressed out by that game. I need to walk away. I need to recollect before I get back and like write this very angry sounding recap of this game.
I will
So
say, I've never smoked cigarettes, but I saw a new trend where people that don't smoke but want a smoke break get bubbles. And so instead of smoking a cigarette, they just blow bubbles.
I've seen that. That's actually not a bad idea. I
I
could
have
do
a,
that.
my nephew's 3 years old, so I don't think I've used bubbles this much in the last 20 years. And now I'm like using them on every weekend.
That's smart. My kids are so much older, so I don't think we have no, we have dog bubbles actually. Now that I think about it, we have dog bubbles somewhere that we use to like torment our dog. Maybe I'll pull those out. I don't know where they're at, but we'll find them.
Yeah.
So, as far as Orioles players, who do you feel like could be the biggest threat to the White Sox right now?
If, and it's a big if because it's one, it's baseball, and two, these guys have not had consistency this year. But if he can, I think both Jackson Holiday and Gunnar could absolutely destroy White Sox pitching. Again, their chase rates are a little up there. We have this running joke of Jackson Holiday swinging at the first pitch. And it's just like, stop swinging at every first pitch. Occasionally he doesn't. But it's so, they're a little more aggressive than they should be sometimes. But honestly, those two guys, and not to mention our two newbies, Dylan Beavers has been insane. And then Samuel Basayo, I mean, they signed him to a freaking extension after 4 games, and so those two guys could definitely go off. I'm trying to remember like where the shortest part of the park is there, because just to figure out if it's lefties or righties, really.
It is more of a lefty friendly ballpark.
Yeah, so that would be Jackson and Gunner.
Yeah,
Oh,
which
sorry,
I would imagine.
Jackson Holiday. It does get confusing. We have Jackson Holiday, Alex Jackson, and Jeremiah Jackson. So,
Yeah. It doesn't help also that you have like like a template where you just kind of like print baseball players that look identical.
oh
That was
God.
one thing, especially when Jackson Holiday was coming up. I was like, oh, he looks exactly like seven other players on that
Yeah,
team. This
there
is going to
was
be fun
a
to watch.
Giants pitching prospect, Hayden Birdsong, and I only remember
Yes.
him because when he got drafted, people were like, "Oh, the Orioles let one through their fingers."
It's funny too because they all do look so young too. And like Hayden, my son's name is Hayden, so that's always kind of fun. Like I see that, and then I see Brooks Baldwin on the White Sox, I think could be a dead ringer for my son, and they look the same age. My son is 15. They look identical. And I was like, Hayden, you would fit right in with like the Orioles little, 12-year-old looking guys
Yeah.
on that
It's
team.
so funny
They you
looking at
could
Jackson Holiday because it's like, you're 21? What?
he's a
But then I
baby.
remember when it was 2016 when I interned for the Orioles, and it was a national series, and I saw Trey Turner in person for the first time, and it was like the same thing. When Trey Turner
Mhm.
came up, he did not look old enough to be playing professional baseball.
No, Brooks does not. Kyle Teal, I go back and forth on if he looks old enough too. Yeah, these guys, they're coming up looking younger and younger and younger, and it is so
Or
jarring. And I
is
mean,
it
I
us
guess
getting older? Sad.
that was my next point. I was like, but I also do have a 15-year-old. So is it that they look younger, or am I just
I have this
ancient?
one benefit where like I'm really bad now at telling ages because I'm constantly confused to be like in my early 20s and I'm like, no, I'm 10 years older than that. I'm in my 30s. And so I've become really bad at gauging ages because I don't look my age. So I don't know how to like figure it out with other people.
I recently went in to get my eyebrows waxed ahead of my class reunion, and I was talking about it, and she was like, "Oh, do you have any plans coming up?" And I was like, "Yeah, actually, I'm going to my high school reunion this weekend." And she was like, "Oh, how long have you been out?" And I was like, "20 years." And she's like, "No." I was like, "Thank you for saying that, but yes, I have a child in high school."
Yeah. I work at a
So yeah,
university and the amount of times I get the reaction of, "You're not a student?" I'm like, "No, I've had my degree for 10 years now. Thanks." I'm like, "I'm an
oh,
actual employee."
I love it. You know what? You take care of your skin, you put some
Oh,
sunscreen
that's
on,
my
you look
secret is I don't. I don't know. Somebody asked me for my skincare routine one time and I was like, I just like shrugged because I'm like, I don't have it. Occasionally I use Cetaphil. Most of the time I just use water.
just keep my face clean, that's
Yeah.
all.
I will say I didn't wear makeup up until like college, and I don't wear it very much now. I love
Yep.
doing it. It's just I'm not gonna wake up early to do it. And if I'm gonna
hmm
sweat it off, I'd rather just not put it on.
I picked it up as a hobby during the pandemic just because I was bored. I kind of have
It's
stopped.
fun.
Yeah, I don't do it as often. In high school, all you could catch me was like really, really heavy black eyeliner because, I was an emo girl. But yeah, it is fun. I love to do it. I will like constantly document myself if I actually do put makeup on. I'm like, look, I'm a human again.
I do know
Hello,
if I
world.
used 90s and early 2000s makeup, I don't think my skin would be as good as it is. But I
No.
also had a mom who didn't do a lot of girly stuff. So I taught myself makeup because my mom never did.
Yeah, I just did the beauty influencers on TikTok. I was like, teach me everything, even though I'm in my 30s and I'm
Yeah.
not leaving my house. And
Yeah.
all of this is just being ordered online.
I would say most days now it's mascara and eyeliner.
And that's enough.
Yes.
Um, anyway, no one cares about our makeup. Um,
So what happens
it's
when you
what
have two ADHD women together?
I know. It's a hot mess. Um, so keys for the Orioles to take this series from the White Sox to keep in mind, the White Sox are playing decent baseball right now.
I would have to say the keys are not chasing. That Yamamoto almost no hitter, they had 23 swings and misses. It, you know, they need to stop chasing as much as they are, especially against a team that, quote unquote, they should beat. Um,
Right.
we're on the up, we're doing better than we were, but it's granted we just swept the Padres and then almost swept the Dodgers, so it's one of those baseball is weird things. Um, and then I would say the pitchers have to go deep. They thankfully have been, but occasionally we get a start of like 5 innings or less, or we got one of our young guys like Cade Povich, who it's like he'll do great, and then something happens. And the young guys really, him and I think Brandon Young's still in the IL, but they would give up something like a home run, and then somehow their confidence like drops, and they start to struggle. And so I would say getting the starters deep would help, especially with the wildness of bullpen success.
And so on that other side of that, what kind of fears do you have heading into this series?
One is injuries. I swear to God, we're cursed. We have played like 7 different catchers this year. I mean, Alex Jackson has basically earned his backup spot, and Sammy Basayo's been catching more because Adley got hurt again. And so it's like we feel like we're cursed, especially in the catcher position. And honestly, I feel like we just need to, no one gets hurt for the next week or so, and then more people might be able to come back. And yeah, it's mostly injuries. I swear we've had the worst luck. I don't know if you saw, it was Maverick Hanley. He came back up after one of our catchers went down. It was either, I think it was Gary, when Gary went down. He came up. It was like the second time he started. And it's the most insane collision with Jazz Chisholm where like his body, like his head hit Jazz Chisholm, but his entire body was like flat, spinning through the air. And concussion. I mean, that man hit his head and then spun and hit his head on the ground. And it felt like everything has been like, how did this happen? Let's just stay healthy. I want them to avoid injury for once.
I get that. Yeah. So let's move away from this series and kind of round out this episode with just what you're seeing this season that isn't O's related necessarily. I know we touched on Anthony Rizzo retiring as a Cub, but what else have you just seen or have hot takes on or anything of the sort?
It's honestly, I'm kind of having more fun once I like gave up on the O's, not like gave up in the sense like, oh, I'm not gonna watch them, but more so like, okay, it doesn't matter what happens.
Letting
Um,
go of expectations. You didn't
yes,
give up. Just let go.
yeah. But I would say it's a lot of fun been watching some of these young starting pitchers across the league. Just insane talent. I got to see Skeens pitch last week. I mean, there was strikeouts where I'm just like, why did you miss that? And then I'm like, oh, because it's Skeens on the mound. And it's just insane between like him and Mizorowski. We had Brandon Young, he wasn't like their level, but he threw an immaculate inning in his 5th career start. Like nobody does that. Then you have, oh my God, who was it? I'm just like the Mets have these 2 guys that just came up and did great. Granted, one of them didn't do so well yesterday, but
Jonah, yeah.
it's been interesting watching young pitchers, starting pitchers, somehow come up and succeed in a league where the difference between AAA and the majors is huge.
So, fun fact, Jonah, who was pitching last night for the Mets against Jacob deGrom with his return to Citi Field, which made me emotional because I love Jacob deGrom. We all share a birthday.
Oh,
So that was fun. It was like a little birthday
yeah.
celebration for me at Citi Field last night.
I don't know if I'd share it with any major leaguers.
It's those two. So my friend Colleen Sullivan, who I do another podcast
Yeah.
with, she also has that birthday. So we always talked about how Jacob deGrom was our triplet. And then she texted our group chat one day and she was like, "We have a new birthday buddy, and he's a Met." And I was like, "Yes, yes, bring it on." And I was so excited because he is fun. Obviously, his outing last night was not fun, but again, the Mets have just completely
They met.
melted away. Yeah, they're doing
I
the
mean,
LOL
there's
Met.
a reason LOL Mets is a thing.
Yeah, they're embarrassing. So rude of them to do
I have a
that to
personal
me.
vendetta against the World Series MVP from 1986, so sometimes I'm like a little giddy when the Mets struggle.
No,
Not to
that's fair.
mention my mom and my dad's, my mom being an Orioles fan, my dad being a Cubs fan, still lament on the 1969 Mets. They
I love
beat
that.
both my parents' teams, so
Yeah. Yeah. I read a lot of Mets history because again, we do a history podcast about baseball. So Mets history has been a topic that I will come back to on occasion, and it's fun reading about how messy they were and how they were still winning games.
yeah.
Just
They were a
they are.
miracle for a reason.
Yeah, love that about them. Well, do you have anything else that you would like to share before we wrap up?
I mean, not entirely. I would say the women in baseball conference is next weekend. The 21st, I think, is when I'm presenting. I will be presenting on scorebook design. Um, it's been a lot of fun researching, but I've done it um, mainly because I wanted to be able to present my scorebooks, but then I've started learning so much more. Um, if you don't know, it's Diamond Scorebook scorecarddesigns.com. It's I do custom too. I've gotten the opportunity to just do one for Joe Posnanski for his blog. Yeah, he just sent it out. He said, and I'm just like, okay, this is huge. This is a New York Times bestselling author, so it's been a lot of fun doing that stuff. And but if it is a Zoom conference, so anybody can sign up. You don't have to go anywhere. You can do it from your couch. So it's SABR and then the International Women's Baseball Center, IWBC, Women in Baseball Conference. And I'm one of dozens of speakers. So if that is your thing, sign up. It supports two great organizations as well.
Well, thank you so much. Obviously, best of luck presenting. That is a wonderful, really, really, really neat opportunity. So I'm so excited for you. I remember you sharing that on Blue Sky, and I was like, yes, I love seeing my girls do
Oh,
cool things.
you have no idea though. My brain was like, oh, they probably didn't have enough applications. I'm like, why is my
No,
brain doing this?
imposter syndrome, it sucks.
Oh, yeah.
And multiply it by like 100 when
It's the
you're a woman
combination of
in
feeling
sports.
like it's not actually uh, an accomplishment and feeling like I can't tell people about it or I'm going to ruin it.
Right. Yeah. No, I fully,
Yeah.
fully understand where you're coming from. Every single day, I'm like, I don't even know about baseball. What am I doing here? I'm so dumb.
Yeah. I will say, every once in a while, when I do feel like I don't know baseball, look back to, I worked at Masson, and Rick Dempsey, the '83 World Series MVP for the Baltimore Orioles, once said that I was the smartest person in the room. So I can hold on to that.
All right. Well, thank you
Thank
again. Best of luck
you.
with that. Best of luck in this series. It should
Yeah,
be a
you as
fun one
well.
to watch.
I
Please
just don't
just
want
again
Topman
let
to like cream us again like he did in Baltimore. It was like,
yeah,
dude, enough.
yeah. Sorry about that.
Like, you're my classmate. Leave me alone.
I was about to say he's showing up for you. He's just
Yeah.
like, hey, remember me? Look what I can do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, thank you so
Yeah.
much. Talk to you
Thanks.
later.
Yeah.